Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. If you've been on this channel for a while, you would know that I love to overanalyze and yap about my favorite characters, and that's exactly what I'll be doing today. Before we get into the video, I just want to say a couple things. First, I just want to make it clear that all the theories and headcanons stated in this video are based on my own interpretations. I'm not claiming that any of them are correct. And lastly, I want to wholeheartedly apologize for not posting a video in like a week. I'm not gonna pull that "I just didn't have the energy" bullshit. It's definitely just my own fault and my own laziness. I'm also currently working on a cosplay right now, so that's been kind of taking up a lot of my time, so I sincerely apologize. But I just want to thank everyone for being so patient and nice. I swear, you guys are some of the nicest people I've ever interacted with, so I do genuinely appreciate your patience and your kindness. But anyways, with all that aside,
let's begin.
I guess it would only be natural to start at the very beginning with Alastor's past. We don't know too much regarding it, but we do know that he is likely around the age of 30 to 40, that he was and died in 1933 after being shot in the head. Which, let me just say, I have no fucking idea how people found out when he died and how he died, because I don't remember that being stated in the show anywhere, but apparently it is canon. Now, this is just a personal headcanon, but I'd like to believe that since Alastor died 4 years after the stock market crash, he was struggling financially and resorted to having to eat people and wild animals to survive. Which could explain why he is so cruel and brutal in hell, because he's just so used to killing, because he's had to do it several times before when he was alive, so he's become desensitized to it. He also makes a joke regarding the stock market crash in the pilot of Has Been Hotel.
Why, I haven't been that entertained since the stock market crash of 1929! So many orphans.
I know the pilot isn't canon, but I found this interesting and so I wanted to mention it. This could be a huge stretch on my part, but I like to believe that making jokes like this is Alastor's way to cope. He never allows himself to show vulnerability in front of others, so he resorts to laughing about the things that have hurt him. He was a radio host when he was alive, don't forget. They need to be charming and funny. They can't just be saying depressing shit, you know? They're known for having upbeat, entertaining attitudes. This is also supported later in the actual show of Has Been Hotel when Alastor opens up to Charlie a little.
Just because you see a smile, don't think you know what's going on underneath. A smile is a valuable tool, my dear. It inspires your friends, keeps your enemies guessing, and ensures that no matter what comes your way, you're the one in control.
I like to believe that what Alastor is telling Charlie here is what he truly believes and that it isn't coming from the persona that he created for himself. What Alastor says about smiles here most likely corresponds with how he feels about laughing as a cover-up to hide how he truly feels. As shown, although he is hard to crack, he does have a vulnerable side. When he is reminded of the fact that he made a deal with an unknown person and is chained like many of the other characters in the show, he gets visibly infuriated, losing his usually calm demeanor. This may be a reason why he resembles a deer, as deer are prey and are eaten by other animals. Alastor is egotistical and confident, yes, but this display can be cracked. Husk is the only character that knows about Alastor's deal. It's likely that Alastor doesn't tell anyone about the deal he made because he hates the idea of being weak or being perceived as weak, and he wants to appear as someone powerful and in control. In Alastor's mind, he likely believes, if I never express vulnerability, nobody can hurt me because they won't know what my weak spots are. So he hides his emotions behind a smile and a carefree persona. This persona is very easy to break, so deep down, Alastor still is somewhat vulnerable like a deer. One of the times Alastor loses his cool is when he's fighting Adam in the season 1 finale. Adam actually manages to break Alastor's staff, which gives us a pretty funny reaction from him.
What just happened? Fuck.
This is also the first time Alastor has expressed any form of vulnerability or weakness in a fight. Every other time he's kicked major ass with no problem, but here Adam managed to actually get the upper hand on him, which leaves Alastor with no choice but to... which is obviously a big hit to his ego and all-powerful persona. For someone like Alastor, having to cower and run away like this is one of the worst things. And it's obvious that this situation had a great effect on him, as in the finale song, as he's recalling the events of what went down, you can hear his voice become more dramatic and full of emotion over time. Which, let me just say, shout out to Amir, he did a fantastic job in this part. His voice acting is top notch, and it really sounds like Alastor is about to have a mental breakdown. It's crazy how unhinged and insane the animation team made Alastor look while he's still smiling. Something else I think important to note is the fact that Alastor doesn't want to be seen as a good person. The idea of being seen as some altruist who died to protect his friends infuriates him beyond belief. Most likely because he wants to keep up the persona that he's created for himself as someone who doesn't really get close to anyone new and prefers to work alone. And also, expressing your appreciation for your friendship with someone can be seen as being vulnerable, which is something that Alastor hates. So even if he did care about the residents of the hotel, he'd likely never admit it outright. However, he does mention to Nifty that he's grown accustomed to them though.
It's been a surprising thrill to witness these wayward souls find connection. Almost makes one sentimental, eh, Nifty? An enjoyable collective to be around. I admit one could get accustomed.
So it's obvious that Alastor has at least some form of care for them. And it's obvious they care about him too. They're all seen very happy when he comes back to life after they thought he died. I mean, except for Lucifer, but Charlie hugs him, which is very sweet. And it's important to notice that he also doesn't push her away, even though he doesn't like to be touched. And everyone else is smiling, even Husk and Vaggie. They both definitely do care about Alastor to an extent, despite the rough relationship they've had with him throughout the show. Even people like Angel and Cherry Bomb, who aren't really seen interacting with Alastor that much, are happy to see him alive. So he has friends and stuff. They obviously like him, at least a little bit, despite Alastor not being the most caring person himself. So I like to believe that Alastor isn't all bad. He's selfish, egotistical, and can be flat out cruel, yes, and I'm not defending him for that, but I do believe that there is at least a little bit of good left in him, and I have a reason to believe that he does have a heart and is capable of caring about people. Charlie is a good example of this. Alastor only joined Charlie's hotel for his own amusement in the beginning, but I do believe that he grew to genuinely like her over time. It's obvious that Alastor has to have a portion of trust in Charlie, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have opened up to her like this. In this scene, Alastor reveals a part of his true self to Charlie, and for once, even just a little, drops his persona around her. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he loves Charlie and that he's so nice to her, because he definitely does take advantage of her and can be a dick to her, but you cannot tell me that he downright dislikes her. He opens up to her a little bit, the two of them hug twice, I believe it's twice, correct me if I'm wrong, even though he usually hates to be touched. And he lets her hold his staff, something that he doesn't let just anyone touch, as he's usually seen holding it behind his back as if to hide it. But he lets Charlie hold it to make her speech to town. He is also seen supporting her during Ready for This when she tries to convince the residents of town to help her save hell. So it's obvious that Alastor has to have some form of care for her. Also, notice the way that Charlie looks at Alastor. Something important to note about animation is everything is done deliberately. They wouldn't accidentally have Charlie make this facial expression towards Alastor. Charlie has a good judge of character. It's likely she believes that Alastor isn't entirely heartless, because if she did, she wouldn't have even let him in the hotel in the first place. Even after Vaggie told her that Alastor wasn't someone to be trusted, Charlie actually went against her advice, so it's obvious that she saw something in him. She also seems genuinely touched by his help and kindness to her here, which again makes me believe that he's not entirely too far gone in evil. Another person that Alastor is shown to care about is Rosie. She's someone that Alastor clearly trusts a lot, as he lets her hug him. Anyway, she's someone that Alastor clearly trusts, as he lets her hug him and they touch while dancing together. Rosie also trusts Alastor, as she was originally hesitant to trust Charlie, but was convinced to after Alastor said that Charlie was trustworthy, showing that she values Alastor's opinion. I like to believe that Alastor considers Rosie a close friend as well. They are also both, which leads me to believe that they were in a similar situation regarding poverty when they were alive. However, I'm not 100% sure if they knew each other when they were alive. It might have been mentioned that they did, but I don't remember. I think they might have met in hell, but I'm not really sure. And the reason why I bring it up is because I know this seems like a dumb excuse, but Rosie just doesn't seem like a cold-blooded. Her friendship with Alastor seems so wholesome and genuine, and she treats Charlie very sweetly and gives her amazing advice regarding Vaggie. She just doesn't seem like the type of person who would be a cold-blooded. Maybe she is and I'm overthinking this, but I hope you guys at least understand where I'm trying to come from. It wouldn't make any sense. And although Alastor is arguably not as nice as Rosie is, I believe the same argument could be made for him. Considering that after everything he's done, in my opinion, it's kind of hard to believe that he's totally evil. Rosie and Alastor kind of remind me of an old married couple, but I do love their friendship a lot. Another person Alastor seems to be close with is Nifty. He opens up to her a little bit as well, as I mentioned before, when he admits that he's grown accustomed to the residents of the hotel. He also lets Nifty touch him, something that he doesn't let just anyone do. Also random, but I just love how equally unhinged the both of them are.
Oh.
As much as I shit on Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss, I will admit that they do make some damn good characters sometimes, and Alastor is one of those characters. I'm not saying he's perfect or anything, but I do really enjoy his writing. I think he has a great design and a really fun personality. And people can say he's overrated and whatever, but honestly, I think that the hype is deserved. He's a really interesting and fun character, and I can't wait to see what they do with him in season 2. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm sorry for the long wait, but I hope you enjoyed this video at least a little bit, and I hope to see you in the next one.